So, um, I decided to make these videos the most visual as possible, and for that reason I'm gonna use this wall that I already used in previous videos, and the objective is to make it easier not only for me to explain the ideas, but at the same time allow other people to use these concepts that I'm gonna put in here, or even the graphism or the way that I am explaining, so everyone can bring their own opinions and even enricher or even create their own concepts towards the knowledge that I'm putting here. So the subject of today is education, and for that reason I decided to make first these 4 parts kind of table, and the objective is to put here first what we have now and what we should aim for in the future. So this is the first division: what we have now, what we aim for, and then we have here what we as a society expect from the individuals. So this is the perspective of the society, and here what we as individuals expect from the educational system. So here we put the educational system. And this is a very simple graph. It's very easy to put, and we can all give ideas and add things to it. So I'm going to start with some of my ideas. They are not settled. I don't think anyone should have settled ideas. However, I already put a lot of thought into them, and this allows me to have already some things figured out. So, first, I would like to start this by visualizing something in the future, and then from what we see in the future, what we could perceive in the future, we can backtrace it to the present. So I'm gonna start in this place, and then we deconstruct it to the present. And I prefer always to have my individual opinion and my individual experience. So for that reason I'm gonna use the future and what I would expect from the educational system. If I was when I was a kid, what I thought I was going to learn, what were my expectations, and what I would thought that education was about. So, when we are kids, we are young minds, we have potential, we should be about learning the things that we find it curious, and we find that we have some kind of instinct, and we manage to make it for ourselves like something good. So for this reason, I do think that when I was back then, what I thought about what should be education was something that would bring my creativity to the most of it, so that I could use my creative nature into putting in forward some new necessities, solve new problems, and put it in places that it got sharpened, and something that somehow emboldened myself to figure it out new things. So for here, I do think that in the future education should go towards curiosity, and this is something that is really important. the way we approach education should be in line with curiosity. To understand curiosity, we need to understand what for me, curiosity is something that allows me to go a little bit further. Even if people don't see it, or even if things are not completely understood, curiosity it's always something that allowed humanity in overall to go forward. And I see it as an individual for myself that is something that I would like to bring always. So every time that something spiked my curiosity, it was something that made me want to learn a little bit more. So curiosity is a very important factor. The other thing is, with that curiosity, it was important to me to use my imagination, to join the curiosity and to bring the things that allow me to automatically imagine and visualize and conceptualize and exemplify and experiment in ways that would be generally different and not that different from the rest of us, but at least it was new to me enough for me to implement it. So curiosity, imaginative, so these two concepts allowed also to bring a third one, which is the curiosity allowed me to try to figure out new things. The imagination allowed me to try and see it from different perspectives and from different points of view. And the third thing was it needed to be aligned with reality. So the thing is, even though I like to use my imagination for things that are not that can be abstract and are difficult and can be very imaginative or very out of context or abstract even, it's important to be problem solvers. So to use these things that we are using, but at the same time that they can be still being used many times as I want. So it needs to be a thing that is problem solver. So it needs to provide me skills that I am comfortable with and I can use as many times as I want, and at the same time allow me to use them in real life and not only use them but be part of my life. So problem solver skills. So as you can see, I'm going to put very broad things. This is just the beginning of everything that I'm going to tell you, but this is a way for us to reach a little bit deeper and go a little bit further as well. So another thing is, I am a bit of an extrovert, and for that reason, I am an extrovert, despite of in the last couple of years I've been more into try to internalize and be more introspective, but I am more of an extrovert, and for that reason, to me, it was really important also that despite all of these things, this would be connected to people. So in a way that I not only understood all of this, I could use all of this, but at the same time I could connect to people in new ways, in different ways, in ways that I didn't even understood that could be ways of interacting with people. So talking with people, to me, it was something important. So for example, I can manage to be a little bit of a nerd sometimes, I can manage to be a little bit of a hippie sometimes, I can manage to be a little bit of a very social person. I've worked in front of counters and as a clerk, and for that reason those were social skills. But these were more for me. However, I don't think social skills nowadays are a thing in the educational system, or at least they are not perceived as something that can be educated and learned and used for our lives. So what happens is something that transpires as something more generic, and from all of the courses or disciplines that we have throughout years and of school. However, in fact, there is a thing here that, despite of that being true, it should be understood what is it that we are using it for. So every time that we talk with someone, why we talk with that person, what we get from it, why we're giving something back, and what transpires from it. So these social skills I will encompass later in a chapter specific to it, which is the emotional structure of schools, that I do think that should be also reframed and should be even not only conceptualized but even structured differently. So there is a possibility for us to tackle a lot of issues for our society that are based on the emotional skills, the emotional school skills, and from these I am already going through other places, but we already have a little picture of what I do think that I saw in the past to the future, what I think in the future it can be necessary for our educational system as an individual. Okay?